Today I'm
Hello.
speaking with my special guest, Istvan. Hello. He's
Hi,
a
all.
he's a professional C-sharp a senior software developer with more than 20 years of experience. And today we would like to discuss the topic of remote interviewing. We will share with you our thoughts and our experience. So Istvan, I wanted to ask you, can you describe your experience with remote interviews and what was the most challenging aspect and how did you overcome it?
Very hard to create a connection. Like, for example, if you go to or you sit in with somebody in a table or in a desk, that's easy to get the gestures of the interviewer. So to know that the answer was good or bad, but in remote it's a bit harder, and
Mm-hmm.
especially because a lot of people using very very bad camera.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I agree with you.
and you cannot see in detail the the interview where so that was really hard. uh, and
Mm-hmm.
when I realized it, technically I bought a full HD camera because my laptop didn't have a high resolution camera.
Mm-hmm.
So because I guess it's the same for the interviewer as well. So he or she couldn't see my gestures or that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was really hard for me,
Mm-hmm.
because in person, I can create um, I can contact with somebody quite easily, but in a remote it's a bit harder.
Yeah, and I think the same. I love talking to people via Zoom or Google Meet, but it's not the same when you can talk with the candidate in real. And I think that people prefer remote interviews rather than in-person interviews because remote interviews, also known as virtual interviews or video interviews, have become increasingly popular in recent years as more companies embrace remote work and virtual communication. But I think that one of the most challenging aspects of remote interviews is the lack of, face-to-face interaction. And in traditional in-person interviews, non-verbal cues such as body language and facial expressions play a significant role in the communication. However, in remote interviews, these cues may be limited or distorted due to technical issues, yeah, as you said, or pure video quality. So this can make it difficult for both the interviewer and interviewee to
Yeah.
reach each other's reactions and establish a connection. Yeah, so I think the same, and I suppose that yeah, many candidates they like to talk, to talk like on the phone or like through the laptop, but it's better for me when I can talk with somebody in reality.
Yeah, and even the phone is the worst, I guess. So, for example, when we talk first, I barely heard you. So because I guess the real phone, I don't know that in the 21st century how the telecommunication companies, but it was really bad quality, the
Yeah.
voice quality. So now it's better. For example, it's much better, but the phone is the worst.
Yeah, exactly. Or some people, a lot of people, they are using iPhones, and that these phones are good in using, but not everybody has this kind of phone. Some people, especially older people, they have like old version phones, and sometimes it's hard to talk with this person because I cannot hear, his voice, or the connection is really bad. So yeah, so I think that it's better to meet with the people in real than talking to them via Zoom or Google Meet. Good, thank you so
And
much for
there
your.
is one more that
Yeah.
as a software developer, so when you talk with somebody, you know, because remote work is usually because the candidate is in another country,
Yeah.
and she or he is not a native speaker of not a native English speaker. So if the quality of the sound is bad, it's far worse for him
Yeah.
because he or she is not a native speaker. So that was another aspect that for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I can tell you, some example. When I talked with the candidate, and his English was good, but let's say was not advanced. It wasn't, a C1 or C2 level, and the connection was not really good, and we had like a double problem, with the language communication and with the connection. And when you speak with someone in reality, you can handle it, right? You can try
Yeah,
to
but
understand what the person wants to say. But yeah, remote interviews and in-person interviews are two distinct methods of conducting job interviews. And like, for example, logistics is one of the most apparent differences between remote and in-person interviews, because it's the physical location of the participants. And in an in-person interview, both the interviewers and the candidate are present at the same location, typically a company's office or a designed interview venue. And on the other hand, remote interviews are conducted via video conferencing tools or phone calls, allowing participants to connect from different locations. And the second thing is communication, because in an in-person interview, non-verbal cues play a significant role in communication. So this is what we said before. And interviewers can observe body language, facial expressions, and other physical cues that may provide additional insights into a candidate's responses. And I think that also it's important to talk about the technological aspects, because remote interviews heavily rely on technology for communication. So video conferencing tools such as Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Skype are commonly used to facilitate remote interviews. So these tools enable real-time audio and video communication between interviewers and candidates. So I think like these keys are very important, are worth mentioning. Can you share an example of a successful remote interview where you felt a strong connection with the interviewers, and what factors contributed to that positive experience?
Reviews our workplace. I interviewed a lot of people, around
Mm-hmm.
70 or 80, and we were said that we should or we have to start with a
Mm-hmm.
5 minute just to warm up and to make the feel easier for the interviewer. So it was really good interview, and because we talk just and I calmed down, and
Uh-huh.
and then I was not nervous, and just
Stressful.
can answer. I could answer questions yeah, easily. So yeah,
That's really good. And
that's very important because on the other side, once it was a personal interview, but with another company here in Hungary, and it was really bad because they just kind of attacked me like free person, and just asking questions
Mhm.
and questions from the starting point, and it was really bad. So
So you
yeah,
have
and
you
and
have good
then we stopped
experience
it
and
after.
bad experience, yeah?
Yeah, I had bad experience in the traditional interviewing. So and then it turned out that because they so I didn't have the right qualifications. Yeah. So and but the HR girl didn't read my CV properly, and they
Mm-hmm.
sent it to them. And when the guys just read it, that they were really
Mm-hmm.
nervous that they had to um, take time of that guy because we didn't want it. So
Yes,
that was
sometimes, sometimes it happens. Sometimes these kind of situations, they take place. But I think that everyone got used to it, right? That sometimes, yeah, you might have, bad experience. But I can also answer this question. And from the recruiter perspective, I can share with you some useful tips of a successful remote interview where the candidate feels a strong connection with the interviewers. So I think that firstly, the interviewers should make an effort to establish a comfortable and welcoming environment right from the beginning. They greet the candidate warmly, introduce themselves, and express their excitement about the interview. And this helps to create a friendly and open atmosphere, which is a turn fostered a sense of connection. And I think effective communication is always very important and plays a critical role in building the connection, because the interviewers should actively listen. And I think that sometimes the interviewers, they have a lot to say, but they cannot listen. They don't know how to listen other people, and that's the problem. So they should actively listen to the candidates' responses, ask follow-up questions, and provide thoughtful feedback. And I think a successful remote interview where a strong connection was found with the interviewers can be attributed to factors such as establishing a comfortable environment, effective communication, utilizing video conferencing technology, sharing company culture and values, and allowing for a two-way dialogue. Like not only, in one way, but in two ways, right?
right. Yeah, you are right.
Yes. Okay, good.
And then there is one
Yeah.
more thing which I would like to mention, that do not stop the interviewer. So it's really it could be challenging that question is asked, and then the interviewer just start asking, oh, okay, let's move to the next one, and that's for me it's really
Yes.
so I'm getting angry after that they don't really want me to speak. Just okay, move, next.
Yes, they have a lot of questions, but they don't know how to listen. You want to say something, but the interviewer can interrupt and ask, another questions that he has, in his mind. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I guess that's wrong.
Yeah, I
So
think so. I think so. And I can tell you, I had the same problem at the beginning of my career, as a recruiter. So because I'm a very talkative person, I'm very communicative, and at the beginning of my adventure with recruitment, I didn't know how to listen other people. And this is the problem not only in my professional career, but also in my personal life. Yes. Like, is it important for you to get feedback? Like, you as a candidate, you want to get feedback, you want to know what what are your mistakes, what did you do wrong, right? You want to
Yeah, truth
improve
be told,
yourself.
in the recent a lot of interviews, they just didn't send any report, and we talked about with a
Mm-hmm,
friend of mine who live in New York, and he said that happens because they are fair that they will be sued
mm-hmm.
uh, by the candidates, and then that's why they don't give any feedback. But and that's the same here, and even I didn't get any answer. So um, it's really annoying that you don't know that what was wrong, but you should learn to get better. And yeah, so I barely get feedback from the interviewers where I didn't.
Yes, and do you, when you speak to the recruiter, and for example, you had an interview, so the recruiter, the person recommended you a job, and then the recruiter forwarded your CV to the client, and after that you had an interview with them, but you didn't receive the feedback. Is it often? Like, do you have this kind of situation very often, or it's rarely, it's not that often, or you had?
I guess it's
Mhm,
quite often.
it's quite
So
often.
and
Mhm,
yeah, even in the communication on LinkedIn, that okay, that please send your CV. Okay, send my CV. We start talking about the job, and for example, let's say what is your salary expectations, and if it's, I guess if it's higher than they have higher than there's budget, and then just the communication stopped, and that's all. No, even they didn't say that.
mhm.
Oh, okay, that's that's not good for us, and bye. Or so just say hello or anything. But it's really common that they just stop the communication, and that's all. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly, the conversation is over, and you don't know what did you do wrong, right? Or did you tell the rate, like, you said this number, and the interviewer just, she saw the number, right? What is your expected hourly rate? And after that, she stopped, talking to you because your rate was over the client's budget. So she decided to stop, talking to you. And that's the problem, because I think that even though if the candidate is not suitable to the position that we have, I think that we should stay in touch with this
yeah,
person.
but
And
you replied, so that's good. That's enough. And just saying a few words that okay, you you didn't meet the expectations, or your hourly rate was high, or anything. But really, I had an interview with a Slovenian company,
mhm,
the recruiter was in the UK, I guess, and he sent my CV to them. We had 2 rounds of interviews. They said that it's okay, but they need something to decide whether they would like to hire anybody, and
mhm,
then just the company just disappeared. That they didn't send me anything, and I asked the HR, asked the recruiter guy, and okay, he said okay, I go to ask them, and
okay,
then he disappeared as well. Then I
okay.
sent him a message a week later that hey, what's up? Have you got any answer? And no answer. So it's
And
just
you know that your interview went well, because you get
yeah,
a
yeah. He
positive
said that
feedback.
it's okay. Yeah, I get a positive feedback, and but somehow they it is possible they just because because the changing the economic situation and anything, and they decided to not hire anybody. But why they don't, why they just not say it? Okay,
Yeah,
you are okay,
prepared.
but we changed our mind, and we didn't want to hire anybody, or so that.
Yeah,
But nothing, just disappears.
yeah,
And
it's
everybody, that's really strange.
yeah, it's it's frustrating because you know that your interview went well, and you are waiting for further updates, and then the company disappeared, and even they didn't tell you why they didn't hire you. What was the reason? I had previously a lot of candidates in different processes, and after that, let's say my candidate, he passed first stage of the interview, and then I received from my client the information that the position was put on hold, or the project has changed, or the technologies has changed, and now they are looking for someone who has another background. But I always want to be in touch with my candidates. I always want to tell them the truth, even if the truth is painful. Even though I want to tell them that, look, no worries, I will find something new for you. You are not the first person who had this situation. You are not the first, and you are not the last, right? You are in the middle.
Yeah, well, that happens like dating. So it's similar.
Yes, yes. You have a good date, and then the person disappeared. So what you do? Okay, you're looking for something. You're looking for someone else, right? This is
Someone
our
else.
life.
That's all. But yeah, but in this case, the feedback is or could be valuable. But they
Yes.
disappeared. Right?
But I think when it comes to dating, the feedback, yeah, it
You
shouldn't
don't
be
get
provided.
feedback at
Sorry,
all.
but it's okay.
So yeah, it's getting similar to
Yeah. Yes, you have a lot of different reasons. So yeah, I think you should be honest with the person, right? And it's very important, especially in the recruitment area, that all recruiters should be honest, should provide feedback, even if the feedback is wrong. Uh, I always want to have a good communication with my candidates, and with you is fun as well, right?
yeah. From the job point. So let's say if you are interviewed, and you can ask every question easily, then this means that the company could not be the right for you, because you cannot learn anything from them.
Mm-hmm.
So the good questions is really and good and hard, quite hard questions. So if you don't know a lot of questions, then you are not the right candidate to that company. But if you know everything, then you are not the right, or the company is not the right for you as a um, because you
Mm-hmm.
will not learn anything at there, and it could be, or it is very frustrating if you are working somewhere, and uh, and you and there are a lot of bad qualified people. I mean, for example, software developers. So the good questions is very important, and be polite. So there was another interview when really just
Mm-hmm.
the interviewer tried to be, so I'm higher than you, and I know more than you, much more than you, and try to act as a kind of a teacher, and not like a colleague. So
Yeah.
that was really bad as well. But
Yeah.
that happens. So
Yeah, exactly. It happens. Sometimes you have a better connection with the interviewer. Sometimes you have, worse connection. So it all depends. But I think that, the interviewers, they should understand the candidate's needs, expectations. And as you said, right, you don't need to know everything, because you have an interview, you want to learn something from the other person. So if you know everything, you are not the right person, because you cannot learn during your
Exactly.
job, because you already answered for all these questions. So you are not you are not needed, right? You are not needed because you know everything. But I think that, yeah, like several aspects of the communication, company culture and team dynamics are critical to consider, and these factors can provide valuable insights into the organization's values, work environment, and overall capability with your professional goals and inspirations. And also, communication is a vital aspect to evaluate during a remote interview. So effective communication is essential for successful
Yeah, I agree.
collaboration. Another important aspect to consider is company culture. So this is what we said before. The company culture and encompasses the shared values, beliefs, and behaviors. And I think that when assessing a potential employer during a remote interview, it's important to consider their communication skills, company culture, and team dynamics, because effective communication ensures smooth collaboration, a remote work environment. I
Yeah,
think
but
so.
the company culture is quite hard to get or to get information about it, because especially in remote. So how do you know that
Yeah.
what the company, or how yeah, what
And
the
I,
company culture is? So yeah, we could go back to the previous question. So and yeah, it's really hard. I thought about it, that because in person,
Mhm.
you get, for example, friends or anything, that, oh, that company is good and
Mhm.
that company is bad. But if you try to work, for example, to a company at a different country, then you don't get any feedback. So
Yes, exactly. And yeah, I think that for the freelance projects, it's hard to explore what is the company culture, because you work remotely and you cannot explore. You don't know what kind of people working in this company. uh, of course, when you decide to join the project, you can talk with the people. But if you don't accept the offer, then you don't know. Because you
yeah,
have sometimes you have interviews with the people that are not involved in this project. So you don't know what is the company culture, you don't know what is the environment, um before you don't decide to join. Yeah, you don't know.
yeah, but you have to take the risk. So
Yes,
no
exactly.
risk, no profit. That's
Yes, yeah,
what the stock traders usually
yes.
said.
But if you have a nice communication with the interviewer, that's fine, right? You can
Yeah.
decide, and you can see how it looks like. You